Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Broken Korean. And today I was just perusing some articles and I came across this one on Business Insider that talked about how Dungeons and Dragons seems to be helping younger kids with the loneliness epidemic in America. Now, Dungeons and Dragons has been around since the 60s and has had a ton of weird, there's been a lot of controversy around Dungeons and Dragons. And from the outside looking in, I can see where some of that controversy started way back when. But now it's more, I guess I would say, accepted. And that's good from the standpoint that this game is not about, you know, real demons and calling forth spirits and things like that. It is a role playing game that people make up and go on fantastical adventures through the imagination of everyone involved. This is a great thing. Now, I personally have never played Dungeons and Dragons. I've played some other tabletop games back in the day. One that I was really into with me and a couple of my friends was called Hero Quest back in the early 90s. And great game. Thought about buying it. It's a single, it's adjustable tabletop game. It's got a board and you can rearrange things. And I was going to buy it so I could play with my kids. I was like, it's over $100 for basically a board game. And I'm still kind of like, I'm still on the fence. Just go ahead and biting the bullet and pulling it and getting it and introducing my kids to it. Cause me and my friends growing up, we had a lot of fun playing it. And this is, PC gaming wasn't a thing. I mean, we had Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and that was about it. So tabletop games were kind of fun and a different thing to do on those late night sleepovers. And it was great. And I had a blast with it. And this is just what the whole premise of this article is, simply that, yes, tabletop games do multiple things, have multiple advantages. It brings people together. So definitely conquering that loneliness thing. And also, boosting creativity and imagination and just getting away from what might be stressing you out, and just as getting into a video game would do. But this is online, this is in person. And so, if I wanted to play Dungeons and Dragons, I'd have a trouble doing it right now because I don't have any people in my life that plays Dungeons and Dragons. And nothing against it, just my friends don't play it. I've got 3 that play Warhammer with another group of guys. That's great. And I'm like, yeah, I'd like to play, but man, my hands, they're a little shaky. And if I have to paint my figurines, I'm like, yeah, everyone's just going to spend the time making fun of my figures. I mean, it's going to be pretty funny. I'm all for it, but I'm just kind of like, for me, that's just not my bailiwick. It's just, it's okay. But there's also online games, and I've seen some people online that you can do online Dungeons and Dragons games, tabletop games, things like that online with people across the world. And while this doesn't put you physically in the same room, it does resolve that loneliness. You feel connected, you grow to get to know these people and develop friendships and things like that. And so this is a good thing. And this is something that, some people might like to look into. And me personally, it's always something I wanted to try. I've never done it outside of Hero Quest. And, and there's a lot of options out there. And after reading this article, I was like, you know what? I think this summer might be a good time to kind of spent some time looking into this and seeing what's going on with the online versions and meet some new people. Also meeting new people. Uh, I've been playing Among Us. I don't stream it because I don't have permission. I don't want to get permission from everyone in the room that I'm playing, but I play Among Us and I've met some people and, just got to chat and we'll chat on Steam and say, hey, we're going to do this. Hey, let's play again this time. And we've gotten to know each other and we're developing friendships. And so video games and online video games are also an option. But this is just something that, has blown up with what has been coined the Netflix effect, because since Stranger Things happened, this blew up. Dungeons and Dragons went from, okay, it's mostly really hardcore nerds that play it to everyone's playing it now. Just like when we saw the Queen's Gambit, the sale of chessboards went up 300 something percent in the first 2 weeks. Like literally after that movie came out, like everyone started buying chessboards. And it's the Netflix effect. And even with that song Running Up the Hill from Stranger Things, it drove my daughter crazy because like it seemed like half the stations I put on Sirius XM in the car would play that for the longest time after that came out. Drove her crazy. She hated the song. And I was like, this is so funny. But it was the same. It's that Netflix effect. And you got to give credit where credit is due. And Stranger Things has popularized Dungeons and Dragons to the mainstream, has made it available, made more people open to it. Oh, well, that looks like fun. It is fun. Tabletop games are fun. And you're like, oh, I don't like Dungeons and Dragons. Great. There's other things out there. There's Warhammer. There are other types of tabletop games, quote unquote, tabletop games that are out there that do tons of stuff, from sci-fi genres to horror to any type of setting you want. It's out there. And I have not done the research, but I know there's a lot out there. And to me, my research is literally going to a hobby store I know that's across town that does tabletop games. I mean, that's their big draw is they do tabletop games. They have a room, they have massive room set up where people can come. Hey, you want to play tabletop games, but hey, you can't accommodate 6 people where you live comfortably in a space where everyone can get around. Great, you can go to this place and play there. It's awesome. And I know people, some people will rent it out and literally set up huge Warhammer scenarios in that room. I've seen pictures online. I was like, that's really cool. And so sometimes you may not have the real estate at home to do it, but you want to do more. And sometimes, hey, if it's just like 4 people and hey, I'd love to do it at my house, but my kids are sick, so we can't do it. Hey, let's go over here and play. Great. And there's a lot of these that have popped up over the years. Like literally, I've never seen this before Stranger Things came out, where tabletop games have risen. And going to these stores, a lot of these people that have been into tabletop games for years can give you that information. Like, okay, well, you want to do something, you want to do tabletop, but you don't like that. You're more really casual. There's some lighthearted tabletop games, that, and if I'm not mistaken, I haven't verified it. My daughter told me there is a Hello Kitty tabletop game and it's set in the Hello Kitty universe. And I'm like, really? I don't know if it's hit stateside yet or not, but she said she saw it on some Japanese site. And I was like, of course, Sanrio has a Hello Kitty tabletop game. Of course, they've got everything. They do everything Hello Kitty. And so I was like, that'd be kind of fun to kind of find and play. So it's not like I want to say you have to play Dungeons and Dragons if you're trying to get into this tabletop game and, make human connections and things like that. I just want to point out that tabletop games do address that isolation that a lot of us do have. And, there's a lot of younger kids that, they just kind of get isolated real early and just boom. And then you have people like me who, through life circumstances, has been isolated by himself. And yes, and while that does affect me a lot, I do overcome it. I do it in different ways. And I have fun with the ways I do it. I do a lot of online gaming, like I said, with Among Us. Started playing Party Animals. Hopefully, meet some people playing Party Animals, and just kind of getting into it. And I found a couple communities where it's like, okay, where a couple people I know are wanting me to play Counter Strike. Never played Counter Strike. Usually, those first person shooter games, I'm not good at, like Fortnite. Like, I play Fortnite every now and then with a couple people that call me up. And now that my son's into it, he'll send me a text. Dad, let's run duos. Okay, give me 5 minutes to load it up and check for updates, and we'll run some duos. And so, absolutely, that's another connection with me and my son. While he's not here, I can play Fortnite with him, and we just get on a Discord call. We're chatting, and we can do things, and just it's fun. And there's a lot of things like that. So it's just there is this new thing now where tabletop games have become more accepted, and that's a good thing. But it doesn't mean that's the only thing you should look at if you're trying to combat loneliness or isolation. But it is a good one to look into. And Dungeons and Dragons, being the most famous of them all, does tend to pull more people in. There is some controversy about what they've been doing lately with Dungeons and Dragons and Warhammer. Uh, but don't get me wrong. There's you're a Trekkie. There's a Star Trek tabletop game, and there's some older ones that you can go find if you want to. You're like I know for a fact exists. There's a Babylon 5 and there's a Stargate one. It's not made anymore, but you can find them, and you can do a tabletop game of like these old sci-fi franchises if you want. There's stuff that's not being made that you can go find and still play. And online gaming is good. You get to develop friendships that way from people you normally wouldn't meet, and it's great. But I just want to put this out there that yes, Dungeons and Dragons, tabletop games, online gaming is a good way to combat the loneliness and the isolation. And I don't know what works best for you, but I do want to put it out there that yes, gaming can help your mental status. And I've talked about this multiple times, and I will continue to talk about it. I will continue to bring it up because gaming, just even by myself, has helped me relax, de-stress, and things over the years. And especially this past year has been great. I've needed it more than I ever thought I would. It's been an escape that I've needed. And I just want to put this out there because games, getting outside your outside reality and into an imaginary world where you can do whatever, boost your creativity, boost your serotonin, boost your connections to people. And it's a great positive thing for you and for others. So if you're not feeling great out there, get out there and start doing some research. Go look for something that fits you. You know, like I said, Dungeons and Dragons is a great one to start with if you want. Great. There's a lot of things you got to pick up, a lot of rules and things that, like any other game. It takes some time. You just can't just hop right in and be a master. But you find a group that is doing it. Ask if you can join. Ask if you can sit in. I've asked to sit in on my friend's Warhammer game just to observe. Come over one night. We're going to go. It's just going to be, I'm basically just going to be sitting back watching, having a nice cigar, just watching, learning everything and just kind of getting used to it. And then if I feel that's what's if it's my bag, I'm going to go for it and give it a shot. If not, okay. I tried. Just going to look at something else, but things are out there for you to look for and things to enjoy. So take it as you see it. I just want to present this information because there are people out there that needs some more connection, more human connection. And I'm one of those people too. And so anytime stuff like this pops up, I just want to share it because I hope this video finds someone that it helps and gives them, okay, I'll try that. Oh, I found this online community, this online gaming. There's so many things. Literally, I know one channel that I do follow, uh, Geeks and Gamers Tabletop. Just search YouTube. They do live streams of their tabletop games, and these people are not in the same location. They are from around the world. I know they've got one or two guys from the UK, several from here in the US, and I think one is in Mexico. And so they play these online role games. But they have video so that everyone can see each other and they talk to each other, and it's really interesting. And I point out that channel not to say, hey, you got to go subscribe to these people. Nope, that's your call. But I'm pointing it out as a resource because they play multiple types of tabletop games. And that could be a good source for you. Just go look and be like, hey, here's them playing it. I like this. I like how this play style is. You know, you don't have to like the people playing it, but yet just observe the gameplay, how it flows through. And that way you can be like, oh, what's this game? Okay, I like this one. Then you can find people that are playing it, join them, and have fun. I'm just putting that out there because sometimes you need a starting point. And to me, seeing people play the game helps you understand the rules, the concept, the etiquette, and the things like that for the gameplay. So watching YouTube videos, and there are tons of channels out there. Ventress, a couple others, Guild, and there's a couple other tabletop channels out there that, yeah, they're streaming all the time. I can't remember which one of them had Matthew Lillard on it. And I thought that was cool. I was like, here we go. We got Shaggy playing Dungeons and Dragons or whatever tabletop game. I thought that was cool. And there's a lot of people out there playing these games, and you should look into what might fit for you. And if you're like, nope, I'm just out, tabletop games, look at online. I want you to find an escape, a healthy way to connect to people through gaming, because that benefits you and it benefits others. Helps you, helps others. And I hope you find that. If you've got recommendations, please comment below, because I'm still looking into it. I haven't touched a tabletop gaming. I haven't touched a tabletop game literally since probably 93, 94. That's probably the last time I touched a tabletop game in my life. So yeah, I'm about 3 decades behind. So put your recommendations down below. Do this. Or if there's an online one, especially an online one, some people may not have friends that want to do it, but you want to get out there. Boom. Great. Do it. Please share the information so other people can find this video, can help them find something that fits them. So until next time, my friends, as always, I love you all, and there's nothing you can do about it.